Welcome to another edition of The Gloves Are Off. I think we started with the same intro last time where it was just chaos. I was running to get a blazer. I ran, and we did it. So, welcome to another edition, and please do share it out and like and subscribe. We have special guest Mr. Hugh Anthony Simmonds in the building.
Hey, hey.
He's a certified lifestyle coach. He's also an author.
Yeah.
And all-around good guy.
Oh, thank you.
So, Hugh, before we get into anything, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown of who Mr. Hugh Simmons is?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you, Grant, for having me on The Gloves Are Off. Aha. So, The Gloves Are Off. So, I'm Hugh Anthony, and I'm a lifestyle speaker, certified lifestyle speaker, lifestyle coach, and author. But, what's interesting about me is I used to dance semi-professionally. So what is it that you would know? I love dancing. At the heart of everything I do.
Now, when you say dancing, is it like hip-hop dancing? Or is it...
hip-hop, modern, jazz, contemporary. I used to do that semi-professionally in another life. Yes.
In another life. I like that.
And I still love to dance. I still do go dancing. Actually, tomorrow night, my high school alumni is having their 75th anniversary gala dinner and dance. And one of the big things about that is they threw a good party. So I'm looking forward to the Clarendon College Alumni Association Toronto chapter dinner and dance tomorrow. And so I cook. I love to cook. I know my wife is gonna have my head for this, but there's that expression that a way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Yeah.
And I rewrite that, that a way to a woman's heart is through her stomach, because I really whipped up something and my wife loved it, and I kept cooking for her.
And you didn't bring any samples?
Oh, darn. Yeah, so yeah, I love to cook, and I'm a great outdoors guy. So all around, one of the things that I've learned through my years is I like the Muhammad Ali quote that says, "Service is the rent we pay for living." So for the better part of my young life, I have, been a very avid volunteer, volunteering with a number of non-profit organizations, internationally and locally, and just all around. I think it's in the giving that you receive. And that's part of me that I want to just share with the listeners, because the gloves are off, what you do, and I'm a big foodie. What's life without food? Like, hello, and we live in this great city, Toronto. Like, your palate.
I knew Cher would come on. The moment we said food, Cher would come on. And big shout out to Shireen Allison out there from Cher's Catering. Hugh, I wanted to ask you something. One of the main reasons that we were going to do the show today is Hugh actually came in and he did some consulting with our company, and I found it of extreme value, and some of the things that he made us realize, you have a way of digging deep into the soul of the company, really, and figuring out what's going on. I wanted to ask you personally, what was the greatest lesson you've ever learned?
Humility. The most profound thing about that lesson was when you think of what you want to do for yourself and for the world, it's very important that whatever you're doing, you have to remember you can't do it alone. And it's important, and why this is important, I remember vividly I was running for a district position, and this time I was with the largest international student organization in the world. And I remember a past international director or trustee said to me, that at the heart of everything you do, be humble, remember humility. And spiritually it resonated with my soul. And in everything I do, whether I wear the hat as a universal lecturer professor, whether I wear my hat as a lifestyle coach or certified lifestyle speaker, or just being who I am, a friend. Humility is at the heart of what I do. And I think that's the most powerful lesson I learned, because it is in that humility or that experience of being humble that your best self emerges and others understand or energetically what is it you want to accomplish.
I like that. So that is basically where your passion sits in when you actually work with curating your lifestyle brand and the elements of the experience. This is what I actually have my notes here from when Hugh came in, and I brought it specifically so he couldn't read my chicken scratching and knew what was coming up next. So you had a quote in here that I really liked too, was let your passion be the reason for your existence and your successes, the product of your persistence.
That's so profound, just hearing you share that with us, how profound that is. And in my capacity as a lifestyle coach, what I help to uncover is your passion. Once your passion is uncovered, then you start to unfold your purpose, and as in your purpose you realize, there's power in my story. My voice has power. And we don't often take the time to slow down. And that's very important. To slow down, listen to our heartbeat, feel our breathing. Because in this maddening rush to really prove yourself wrong, because you can't be doing something right when your health is being expensed. But to understand who you are and what is my purpose here, what is it that I am to do in terms of building my legacy, and we have to reflect on that, because oftentimes we're looking for meaning, and meaning does not come externally. It's always been with you. So I am able to co-create with you as a lifestyle coach. I'm able to co-create with you as a speaker, because when I speak, I am curating for the audience that I'm speaking to, and we're having a conversation. Even though they say public speaking is so formal and all of that, for me it's lifestyle speaking, because it is learning that your life is a mosaic of experiences, a kaleidoscope of colors. And when we talk about experiences, your memories matter. And so do you, because without you, there will be no memories. Gotcha.
the wink.
Yes.
Hugh, who do you want to be?
I want to be me. I want to be me, and every opportunity to evolve in my best self every day. And what's exciting about being me, you being you, Grant, it's when I look on my fingerprints, my hand, not even my left hand is similar to my right. And I realize that our genetic coding or fingerprints are so unique, and it is in that uniqueness where our best self lies. The challenge there is, how do we uncover our best selves every moment of the day? So this experience, I'm uncovering my best self. Like you did make some notes, call it chicken scratch or whatever, but then you're helping me to reflect, to introspect, and share in this moment as I evolve into my best self. And part of that, why I want to be me, is that I'm curious. And curiosity, like a kid, I'm like a kid in a chocolate factory, because I'm a voracious reader. I love to learn. And I never considered myself an expert, because an expert, so much and you stop at that. But I consider myself an authority, because I'm always willing to go that extra mile to know more about what I need to understand, so I can not only inspire myself but inspire my clientele, the individuals and the organizations I work with.
You once told me a story that you disappeared for a number of years.
Oh God, yeah, I did. I did. So, building on that, in this maddening rush, to this point, I've had a great life, and thanks to all those who've contributed in their own small way, I'm saying to you, thank you, because everyone I interact with does contribute. They bring something to your life. So I had the opportunity to go up into the mountains. Pretty much, I did that for a decade. I took a break from really being actively involved to discover the miracle that I am, because in my inspirational messages that I share, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, the whole idea is what I'm sharing with my audience, I'm uncovering in my own journey, be it personal, be it professional, be it spiritual. Mm-hmm. And having had that opportunity, a book that hit me to the core, which I'm gonna ask, what's your the books for your summer reading list or for the rest of the year, is by Maya Angelou. Dr. Maya Angelou wrote a book called All God's Children Needs Traveling Shoes. And a profound quote came out of that book, that it is in the stillness that we know who God is. And I had that quiet time, living in a cottage, all greenery, streams, my dogs with me, and quality time to the point where I had breakfast Sunday mornings on the patio, and the birds would come and sing. It was so profoundly cathartic and revealing that it is when we're one with nature that we find ourselves, because the maddening rush, the hardness of our cities, the drive to outdo materialistically each other, that doesn't bring us joy. That doesn't bring us happiness, because joy, happiness, and meaning are not external to us.
Yeah.
And it's in that disappearing act that, whoopee, I'm not hitting at you. But it's in that disappearing act that I was able to find my passion, to unfold my purpose, and being able to share the power of my story. And because I've been able to do that, then I'm able to offer that to the world. Because as much as I disappeared, it's not that I didn't love people. I had to learn to love me more and find who Hugh Anthony is.
Wow, that's powerful. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
And welcome back. You're here with Grant, and the gloves are off. The show on business, success, dreams, struggles, and victories. And today we're here with Hugh Anthony Simmonds, who is an author and a professional relationship coach. relationship, right?
Well,
it was a relationship?
lifestyle coach.
Lifestyle,
So,
lifestyle and relationship.
Coach, yeah, yeah, relationship comes.
He'll
in
smack
it,
me at the next break.
Yeah, no, but relationship comes in that too.
So do your shout out first, because I know we had a comment.
Yeah, so we have Shireen from Toronto, Ajax. Hello.
We got Andre Rose.
Hello, Andre, and of course Stephanie Cole coming out in New York.
And we got some new. Can you see the new overlays we're putting? Smash the likes and hearts. So guys, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you're hitting the likes and hearts. Please subscribe on YouTube as well. We have quite a few phenomenal shows that are on there. There's the overlay for that one too. So we're telling people, subscribe because we love you. So Hugh, before the break, we were talking about how you went to go and find yourself.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you something. I prepared questions this time. Can you believe this?
All right, the gloves are off.
What do you need to let go of, and who do you need to step into in order to move forward towards your goals?
So one of the things that
we're getting deep today.
Yeah. So as human beings, or encounters or experiences really shape who we are. And in my case, one of the things that I've learned over the last few years, people talk about mental challenges or depression, anxiety. What I found, which I never had a challenge with, is anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So I once loved driving. Do I love it now? No. Because I'm now realized, living in this very amazing city that is booming and growing, what you find is I don't use transit as much because I am claustrophobic. Then the other thing, I drive, and now traffic in a sense gives me anxiety. So what I do is to listen music, listen my audiobooks and stuff, just to distract me from that. So who would I like to develop into is really a better version of who I am, and really learn to honor that even though this is a challenge right now, it's something I'm going to overcome.
Yes.
And just appreciate the fact that we all have something that really helps us to connect with ourselves and say, what do I need to do to work through this? So I get the professional help where that's needed. Because again, I am a lifestyle coach and I have 5 coaches. Put it out there. So the coach needs a coach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, who's the most inspirational person in the world to you? Your number one person.
Down, my mother. My mother is a beacon of hope, of persistence, grounding. And why I say that is I've met several thought leaders in my life. I have a lot of inspirations. I have mentors. I have coaches. But I have to say, my mother really is the glue that holds my family and myself together.
Mm-hmm.
And just having her, having lost my dad over 21 years ago, my mom continues to be my hero or my heroine, And why that is because it's the first person who accepted me for who I am, I'm eclectic, I'm weird, I'm avant-garde, I'm out there, my second book, Whose Frame Is It, Yours or Mine? The Storied Perception of Our Lives, is that I was never the kid to do what was normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to dance when other kids were doing more contact sports. At the time I did that, and I was having this conversation with a friend, it's that, there are a lot of stereotypes around that. And one of the things that I'm reminded of, a client of mine said, you are the guy in high school who used to do all those type of sexy dance and you're in tights. And I said, yeah, I'm the guy. Because, men in tights at that time was, looked upon as, okay, you're not a man, because you're not supposed to be doing that. And I got that support from my mom, that you can be the best person you are at whatever you set your mind to do. And I honor that, and I just give her a shout out and say, love you, Mom. Thanks for being my rock.
What's the biggest lesson she taught you?
The biggest lesson, kindness. Oh my gosh, kindness. You know, my parents are so giving. It's like I'm alive, and, you know, I pinch myself because it's what they have done. And, you know, if my siblings, people wouldn't believe this, but I was a selfish kid. And why I say that, it was, I figure that my parents were to be ever present, you know? And when my dad in particular passed away, we were at his homegoing, I had about, I can vividly remember 120 young men just coming up to me and saying, man, thanks, your father is a great man. And I'm like, okay, let me find out what they mean. My dad taught over 200 young men to drive. And for 1 minute, I didn't feel he was absent out of my life. But these were individuals he interacted with daily in his profession. And my dad did subsistence farming, and my mom, and one of the things that I remember, it was like, you know, we'd have people in the neighborhood said, your dad or your mom said, give us a chicken, some callaloo from the ground, some ground provision. And I'm like, but why are my parents giving away all this food and stuff? And it is there and then I realized that it's not money that makes the world go around. It is love, it is sheer joy and happiness that comes from giving. And that's what I learned from my parents, kindness. They were always giving. To this day, it's giving. If I have a conversation with my mom, you know, now, and she doesn't share with me that she shared some good juicy East Indian mango with someone, like it's mango season, where she, and I'm like, you know, and it's always, and it gives me such joy to know that the impact they've had on my life have allowed me to now embrace that service is the rent we pay for living. It's in the giving that we know who we are, and that's how we receive.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. Yeah. Woo.
I want to shift gears a little bit before we get into any more.
Yeah, Grant.
Yeah. You were talking when we had the meeting. You were talking about the elements of a journey. You want to go into that a little bit?
Well, first of all, let me say another big thanks to you and the team here at, you know, the TCN Network, the Toronto Caribbean newspaper, you know, because my TCN TV and the crew here, because having had that opportunity to share with you, which I do with a number of organizations, when we talk about the elements of the journey, the organization is important because it's there to serve and meet a need. But when we talk about the elements of the journey, how about the people who comprise the organization?
Yes.
You know, do we take time to really reflect on our own as individuals and reflect in a collective? How do we engage each other? And when we spoke about the elements of the journey, you know, I remember I mentioned the whole thing of the sacred honor. You know, why do you do what you do for the community? You know, when I think about the team here, you know, at Carib 101 Media Group, and I'm like, guys, don't you even realize when you say, you know, community, what that means? That even this organization is a mosaic, a reflection, even in its microscopic sense, of what the community that you're serving is. And reflecting on that, you know, or not just our meeting, but, you know, or mastermind group, when we think about the elements of the journey, we come to the journey not with the glass half full, but with the glass pouring over. You know, your cup runneth over. And it's in that running over that you're able now to do what you do so amazingly well for the community. Because elements of the journey is that a bank without deposit is of no use to anyone.
Ooh.
But when you are filled and your cup runneth over, you're able not just to give yourself, but you're able to give off yourself. So I'm able to say, I know an intern who wants to get an experience working with a media company. I can give off myself and say, let me pick up the phone and call Grant. Because the elements of the journey also, it's that you're constantly replenished, not just with the time you take for yourself, but the friends who lift you up along the journey. And, I got to give a shout out to my friends, my clients, because I'm learning. The elements of the journey is such a co-creation process. Because remember when we talked about the sacred honor, and I go to that I am not interested in someone just wanting to sell me a service. I'm interested in the person who is selling the service. And if the person doesn't understand that they're the key element and not necessarily the service, then it's not going to be bought by me, because I'm buying you and what you're offering to the world. So when we think about what community focused meaning, and let's come back to the Carib 101 Media Group, the Toronto Caribbean newspaper, TCN Network. When we talk about community focus, you have had the opportunity to experience the best of community, the worst of community. But what have you looked forward to is that your cup runneth over. You're not looking at the people who are the naysayers and the doom players. No, because you're community focused, that is what drives you. That's what wakes you up. And what wakes me up is that I can be purposeful to the world. I can make a difference. Yeah, and why the sacred honor? The sacred honor comes that no two individuals are the same. And I'm speaking, if you're a sales professional, you're in marketing, and you're offering a product or a service to the world, what you need to understand about the sacred honor, it's that at the heart of that, it's relationship. And relationship, like storytelling, are the currency of humanity. Think about it for a moment. Relationship and stories are the currencies of humanity, because each of us have a voice. Each of us have myriads of experiences, and out of those experiences or encounters, we're able to form opinions, and our opinions create narratives, and stories are interwoven tapestries of narratives.
Wow. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get more of Mr. Hugh Simmons.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Welcome back, and you're tuned in live with The Gloves Are Off with myself, Grant, and of course we got special guest Mr. Hugh Simmons, who is an author,
lifestyle coach.
I always say relationships coach.
Speaker. Yeah, well, relationship or currencies.
Okay,
right?
so I want to send a shout out to people that are commenting on Facebook. We have
Okay.
a whole set that are out here. Charles,
Yeah.
we got Andre Rose, who's on there. DJ Slim Muhammad, who says maybe communication is a big part of everything that we experience. Communication is the key to solve most of our problems.
Shout out. Yeah. Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Well said.
So Hugh, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes. Okay.
What is your vision for you, and what is the scariest thing that you can go after if you could accomplish anything?
The scariest thing, let me start with the latter question, that really I could do for me is I'm adventurous, right? So I really want to do or have a canoeing experience where I'm like dropping over the Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. Yeah,
wow.
Something as crazy as that. Because why that? The question I always ask my client, and I've asked myself, my client said, what happened between childhood and adulthood? What happened there? Did something mess up the curiosity, the adventure, the boldness, the ability to see the good in all things? If the teacher at the summer day camp said, draw a fire truck, with a dog pushing it, the kid wouldn't say, oh, I can't do that. Say how big you want it, what color, and I find that curiosity and joy and goodness is so missing. Like, someone asked me, what's it that you'd want to do like next trip? And I said, when I go back to South Africa, I'm gonna go bungee jumping in Soweto. And the reason for that is it's something I've always wanted to do. And why not? Because life is about adventure. If you don't take the risk, we always say, there's this expression, it's if you don't push the envelope. Why do you have to push the envelope? Rip the darn envelope, man. Rip it open. And one thing is on the periphery that your best opportunities lie. Because, when I do workshops, especially with youth, you always say, stretch your hands up, and they stretch. And I said, stretch 2 extra inches. And they stretch 2 extra inches. It is those 2 extra inches where your best self emerges. It's that 2 extra inches that allows you to come out of your comfort zone. Because you know what? Nothing grows in the comfort zone.
It's true.
And we have to remember that as we engage our listeners on Facebook, and so one of the things that we ought to be reminded of is that our best self always lies when we convert our fears into faith. Our best self always lies when we see our vulnerabilities and appreciate them for what they are. I find that we don't honor being the vulnerabilities we have in our life. It's not until we honor those things that we're able to have our best selves emerge. So, for example, I share with you that, along my journey doing my PhD in particular, I remember the challenge I had flipping roles, because moving from being a professor, university lecturer, to being a student, the roles are flipped. And it was a transition. And I remember one of my professors said, it does take time, and you gotta be gentle with yourself. And just as, the seasons unfold, we have the blessings here, having 4 seasons, and nature unfolds the seasons. So a plant, you don't plant a pea or a flower and it blossoms the next day. Everything takes time.
Has its time, yeah.
And what would my vision be, to answer the first question, is to appreciate nature's process in me being the best version of myself. Like a fork, I know the next bite is going to be better when it comes to Hugh Anthony Simmonds. I know what I have to offer myself and the world is gonna be better. And one of the things that I recall vividly in my own experience, you know, when I had that disappearing act, is that when I realized the power I had to really not only be the best version of myself, but to be able to impact the world with what I do and how I do it. And I thank my clients and the organizations that have allowed me to serve the way I've served. In that, I have learned so much, and I've taken the best of all those experiences. Not that I didn't have challenging experiences, but why do we have to define everything? Why don't we accept things as they are? And in that learning, why don't we take the lessons that come with it? Why is it that we have to define things without understanding why did this learning occur? What was the lesson that I needed to learn from
Agreed.
Yeah.
You said something, Hugh, to me that severely impacted me in my life and how I do things. Hey, Grant, I can be a life coach. You playing small doesn't serve the world.
Wow. So yes, let's go back to that.
That hit me. That impacted me huge.
Let's go back to that meeting, and let me say, you know, to our listeners that Grant is a serial entrepreneur, guys. But at the heart of it, really, he's a powerful visionary. And I thank you for creating this platform, giving us our voice, a platform to share. And what do I mean playing small? So we talked about how unique our fingerprints are, or hands are, my hands are, your hands are. And one thing that we don't realize that in the process for meaning, or finding meanings for our lives, uncovering our passion, unfolding our purpose, and being able to share the power of story, what I had to share for you really came from a place that was soul driven. Because sometimes we have people external to us who see things that we don't see. And, you know, we hear about the power of discernment, you know, we have the sixth sense, or what, growing up hearing common sense. You use your common sense. But if it were common, then it wouldn't be common sense. Because you wouldn't tell me that's common sense, because not a lot of people are. But really, it's the sixth sense. And what playing small really means is that you're not being your best self. You're not uncovering your passion. You're not unfolding your purpose. Because if you don't understand those, then how can your life have meaning? You know, the point when I share that with you was there's a bigger vision. There's a bigger role for the Carib 101 Media Group, for TCN Network, you know, for Carib 101 Radio, for the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. And the reason for that is when we think of where you started over a decade ago and how you wanted to serve the community and by extension the world, it was already a seed that was planted. And you know, guys, I have
it's
to share
grown.
this with you.
It's grown.
Yeah, the seed that you've planted over a decade ago, that you had, that this is the vision, you know, and as it unfolds or it manifests. You know, I remember when you, after the Toronto Caribbean Business Expo, you took your family to a nice retreat, you know, and for some interesting, curious reason, I was just following you on Instagram, and, you know, when I did have the chance to go and see what you're doing, but there was one time that you were just alone in the woods and the stream, and I said, something powerful is birthing. And birthing in the sense, and I posture, and put, because when we talk about birthing or pregnancy in the woman's case, you know, it's a process. It's 9 months, you know, if it's not a full term, it's gonna be about 7 months. But that process of birthing, you had a moment where something amazing, something phenomenal came to your spirit. And I said to my wife, I said, Sharon, something is going to happen with Grant. And she said, what's happening? I said, no, I don't know. I'm just feeling Grant's energy. I'm observing him. He's just sharing. And when you went silent in that moment, I said, something's going to happen this week at Carib 101 Media Group. And what was birthed? My TCN TV.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when we talk about our vision, when we uncover a passion, when we unfold our purpose, our lives get more meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in that meaning that our happiness unfolds. It's in that process that joy becomes who we are. Because we're all joy, but we're conditioned to be sad. We're conditioned to... Because, you know, every one of us alive today is successful. Because being alive is work. So you have to commend yourself for being successful. So I start from there. That your success is that you're alive today.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do with that success? Build your significance. Build your legacy. How do you want to impact others and the world? How do you want to be remembered?
But that's key right there. How do you want to impact others?
So for me, I have, and I share this a tad bit. My mom always said that when the other kids were doing their contact sports or playing, you know, I was always preaching like Paul from a biblical perspective. And I said, you know, Mom, what you mean is, she says, no, it's so uncanny that, you know, you're a little redhead boy and you would either make your mic from clay and have the stick or your foot stick up in it, and you would be preaching. You know, I don't know, but I couldn't. My mom said I couldn't take my eyes off you.
Mm-hmm.
I had to look, even though I was looking at the other kids. You know, you pulled my attention, and as I got involved, you know, from my days in high school, you know, I was in numerous service club, numerous co-curricular activities, and one of the things that emerged was my being in UNESCO club and you know, United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, and part of that was just opening my eyes to the world. My pen pal Banu, if she's watching, who we reconnected from high school. This was 1986, or we became pen pal friends, and she lived in Turkey at the time, and I was just curious about the world and how can I, as a kid, with what my mom said, and I found myself in numerous leadership positions as I was in drama society, as I was in the dance club. I found myself being in leadership position to the point where I was the head boy for my school in senior grade. And what that taught me is that the voice I had was to honor Earth's people. So because I honored who Hugh Anthony Simmonds is, I was able to use my voice to honor people in a sacred way. And when I say honor, like when I greet a woman, I greet her with both arms, because she is the core of what Mother Earth is, because she gives birth, she gives life, and I honor that by greeting her with both arms, because she is the nurturer, and I respect that. So for our brothers is that we embrace, because it's in the embrace that we feel each other's heartbeat, and that's how we connect, because we're all energy. And as I reflect on my role and the opportunities I've had, is that I have to learn that every encounter I'm honoring the person. Like, you know, I have to share this quickly. I was going to the movies with my wife a couple days ago, because I'm a cinephile, and you know, I love movies. Gosh, you get me there. And there was this homeless chap on the street, and I didn't have change, so I hinted to him, no change. But what I did was honor him with a smile, and we smiled at each other. And it's in that moment I know his circumstance doesn't define who he is.
Yes.
and I have to see beyond that. So are we honoring who we are, or are we letting our circumstances define?
Or at least acknowledging too, right? Because that was important that you actually acknowledged him.
Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna break for a quick. Chelsea's back there almost. We'll be right back.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
And welcome back. You're in tune with Grant with Real Talk. Wow. With the gloves are off, the show on business and success. And we have special guest. I'm going to call you Professor Hugh. I've been dying to call him that because he was actually a professor as well as a student, author, certified life coach. There's a big difference.
Okay.
Hugh, I know we had some amazing conversation. I wanted to ask you something. What are you more afraid of? Being the most relevant person in the world or being irrelevant?
It would be being relevant. And why that, good question. Why I think I am afraid of being that relevant person is if I were not who I am today, then I would say the irrelevant. But moving from success to significance, being relevant is creating your legacy. Mm-hmm. And why I'm afraid of that, it's not so much fear, but the unfolding process. Because sometimes, I always say to my clients or, friends, I said, if, the songwriter in his wisdom says, one day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking from you. If you were to get a Calvin Klein or a Salvatore Ferragamo or Gucci shades, it couldn't contain the glare if you were to see how bright your future is. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it's in that brightness. Sometimes it scares heavens out of us. And that process of being relevant, because we're unique, we have our roles, we have our purpose to unfold, is that I said, what will I do today? I said, Lord, what will you have me do today? Let your thoughts, let your words, your deeds, your actions be mine, mm-hmm. because I can walk in that power. Because what we're not realizing is that when we have the opportunity to speak life, we need to do it abundantly, because words are powerful. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Mm-hmm. So the opportunity to be relevant is to make sure that whole sacred honor that I talked about in the relationship, be it that you're doing something for community or for others or the world, is that you are healing and not destroying. You are helping and not exploiting. You are nurturing and not abusing. And that's where being relevant is scary. Mm-hmm. Because how do I, in the process of honoring myself, how do I honor others? So I know, I have a client, who reminds me that as a bespoke tailor, no two clients are the same. So when you come, he has to make sure he gets your measurement right. So as a lifestyle coach, I have to make sure I get my words right. So no two clients are the same. No two individuals are the same. We might have commonalities in our challenges, but our encounters are individually unique experiences. So that's why being relevant is scary. Yes.
Okay. What's the thing you're most proud of that maybe people don't know about you?
My friendships. Who I am today, who I am in the next moment, tomorrow, it's all because of the sacrifices, the kindness that people have shown me along the journey. And they've been my most avid supporter, my strongest critic, and also my open sounding board. Because there are times you want to just have someone who listens. And, when you talk about friendship, that sacred honor, they're the ones who provide that sounding board. When you're not feeling your best self, there are those times, there are those days, you get up and, I get up and I dress and I go out to do what I have to do. Do I always accomplish it? No, with the best of intention. But what I know is that I can pick up the phone or I can send a message and there's someone in line, just help me. So yeah, just backtrack a bit, and there's no criticism, they're just listening. And one of the things that I've learned as a human being, and the being is very powerful, we just don't even seem to understand 99.9% of the being, is that listening has become my best friend. Listening has become my best friend. As my wife says, I know observation is your best friend. So listening now is also my best friend, because humanity is a seeing tribe, but we also need to learn to listen. That's why we have 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, but 1 mouth. We need to learn to listen. And this is what I have been able to engage my clients with, and just my friends, that they listen as I do. And it's in that process we honor each other by listening. Yeah.
Really nice.
Oh, thank you.
Really. What's the question you wish more people would ask you?
Hugh, what do you do for fun?
Okay, so what do you do for fun?
So I bike.
Okay.
I dance. I'm a Anya Firelight. I love wines and spirit. Yeah, I'm still a designated driver. Right on. But I do love a good glass of wine. I have a client, when we connect, Hugh, you've got to have a Prosecco. And I'm like, oh, sure. Prosecco is like, oh, so bubbly, and its alcohol content is just right. You have a good meal with that. So I'm a oneophile. I'm a coffeephile. I love a good cup of coffee, and my favorite is the OG, the Jamaican Blue Mountain. Yeah, and of course the movies. And what I do a lot is read. I'm a student of life, and as I shared with you the journey with my own PhD program, I do read non-academic stuff. So I do read recreationally, and because we have these beautiful seasons in this country, I also do outdoor sports. I skied, I do tobogganing, I do all the fun. I still bike in the winter, but I do things that people wouldn't expect you to do. And most of all, I'm a foodie. You wonder how I'm not, but I eat a lot. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
Oh, mercy.
It's your final day on Earth.
Yeah.
This is your last communication.
Yeah.
And everybody is tuned in around the world. What are your 3 truths or lessons you would want to share with the world?
Be love, be kind, and always find your happy place. Those are my parting shots. And your happy place is always with you. Never look externally for happiness. Don't look externally for meaning. Don't look externally for validation. You're already validated. By being alive, you are validated. By being who you are, you have been affirmed. And by understanding, uncovering your passion, unfolding your purpose, you're creating meaning for the world and yourself. And that's what I want humanity and human beings, the beings, to understand. That your life has a purpose. Your life has meaning. And if you reflect on the 3 things that you would want to see on the epitaphs of your grave, and for me, it's a wonderful husband to my wife Sharon, a superb friend to all my friends, to you, Grant, and this team here, and an amazing teacher to all my students and clients, and they vice versa being amazing teachers to me. That's what I look back on my life, the epitaphs of my grave, and that's what I do. So whatever I do is in those 3 areas of my life, and I find my happy place in the legacy that I'm creating, because money doesn't make the world go round. It's just one of the engines that helps the world to go round. But if we don't understand that we're love, and my conversation over 25 years ago, I'm dating myself, with Michael Bolton, I said, Michael, you always sing about love. And Michael Bolton said, and at the time, what was so funny, he was going through a divorce or separation with his wife. And the song, How Am I Supposed to Live Without You, when all that I've been living for is gone. And he said, Hugh, but what is it that we give, and what is it that we desire ever so much in our lives? Love. And we ought to treat ourselves as love is always present. So how we connect with nature, animals, this whole thing of humanity not understanding that we are love. Nobody teaches hate. We're conditioned to believe and know what hate is. So when we understand that love helps us create our happy place, our happy place helps us uncover our passion, our happy place helps us unfold our purpose, then we're able to understand our power, and it's in our power that our voices share happy stories. Because relationship and stories are the common currencies of humanity.
It sounded like a narration. That was awesome. So guys, as you can see, Hugh is very passionate about humanity. He's very good and knowledgeable what he does. How can people get a hold of you?
So you can, connect with me on LinkedIn, of course. It's Hugh Anthony, Anthony. And I'm on Instagram. My handle is at HUANTHONI.
What's your ideal client? Because
my ideal client really is successful, but they're looking for meaning and significance. They're more concerned about what will my legacy be? What will it look like? And for me, it's that person. You could be creative, innovative. You're transitioning from 9 to 5 and want to do something as simple thing as you're passionate about baking. You're passionate about making boutonnieres and corsages. You're passionate about using your creative energy, and you've had the opportunity to serve the world in other ways. But my ideal client is someone who's had successes but have not had meaning to their lives, and I help them uncover the truths and stand in that authentic truth of who they are.
Phone number and email.
So my phone number, 416-371-6192. That's 416-371-6192. 6192, and it's HUANTHONI@gmail.com. HUANTHONI@gmail.com. And remember, smile, because the world always smiles back at you. Thank you, Sherific.
So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. If you're watching this after, please leave comments or if you have any questions. Hugh will be more than happy to answer them if you want to get in contact with him. If you're looking for a lifestyle coach, if you're looking for someone to take you to the next level, I think you would see exactly what I see when it comes to Hugh, and you need to work with him. So guys, until next week, make sure you keep it locked. Have an incredible weekend and an incredible week next week. We'll see you later.
See you later.